rolling on this one, so make sure. Perfect. All right. Camera's rolling, so as always, I always start off humble, saying thank you for coming back to the channel. Also, I want to say welcome back. So last time we did an interview, like I said, you can look at me, you can look at the camera. Got better equipment, so I can make this as A1 as possible. So one thing I do want to touch on in this introduction, so phenomenal powerlifting coach. As y'all can see in this area, this is an introduction now. So work with me. He's opening up his own gym. I'm about to become not about to be, but is a business owner. So he's come a very long way since our last interview. He dropped jewels in his interview. I'm gonna let him continue to tell his story. There's only 4 major questions I have for him, but other than that, please enjoy this interview. Pay attention to the jewels that he drops. He's known in Fayetteville, North Carolina, like one of the best powerlifters here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and that I feel like that's a heavy title to hold because you got a lot of incompetency in he's not saying that, I'm saying that. So with whatever jewels he brings to this interview, please pay attention. Other than that, Cole, welcome back. So I guess my first question is, how you been, man?
Doing good. A lot of stress. Whole lot of things going on right now. Obviously, many moving pieces. Nationals coming up. My own surgery's coming up. Athletes left and right. This new gym being built. Politics of the city. All of that as it goes. Other than that, just good, man. Vibing out, trying to get this all done.
So allow me to touch on your team real quick. So I don't want to misspeak. How many members do you have in Primal Instinct currently?
Primal Instinct, powerlifting wise, I have 40 active members, 40 active one-on-one clients, and then when it comes to overall general programming, there's another 35. So it's 75, give or take-ish.
So with that in Primal Instinct, so you're a coach, manager, all that. So like, what are some of the difficulties that you have faced, like being the head of Primal Instinct and having that much clientele?
So usually for coaches, time management is like the biggest thing. Trying to dictate how much time you can give to each client. That's one thing I've struggled with a lot of times. Is powerlifting is a very me versus me sport, and a lot of people want to be the biggest attention seeker. Everyone wants to be your favorite client. Everyone wants to be the best lifter you have, and everyone wants that attention. And you can't do that. You can't. You have to be able to divide out your time evenly. Make everyone feel special in some capacity, and that gets really difficult with people who have, more or less issues. So, with a roster this size, which isn't super crazy in the powerlifting world, some of the top level coaches that are full time are like about 100 people rosters of one-on-one coaching. So I'm about half that. But when it comes to just managing that, it's just the politics of managing people. It's the same thing as managing anything else. Just with lifters, you have to deal with a lot more emotions with steroids being involved or anything crazy, and competitions as well, where it's there's so much pressure to do good. You know how it is. Powerlifting's an investment. It's 6 months to do 9 minutes on a platform. I said that. I think I said that last time. So just remember that it's 6 months of work for 9 minutes of showtime. So it's kind of just difficult with emotions for people.
You posed a question with that. So like the level of patience you have to have, because you deal with different temperaments, right? Like in this field. So like what's been some of the things you've learned dealing with different male or female? Like what's some of the things you've learned as a coach dealing with those temperaments? And how do you stay sane dealing with all those, those temperaments, if that makes sense?
I stay sane because I step back. I know I'm still a competitor. That's the nice thing, is like I still compete at a super high level, well, relatively high level. And so I understand all of the emotions going throughout that. I take my cycles. I understand where the ups and downs come from. I understand the life stressors. Now, being a full-time coach, I don't work outside like most of my clients do. I mean, most of my clients are all in the Army, or if not veterans. So that time management, I get it. I understand it. So being able to step back and still be in their shoes is really effective right now. But other than that, it's difficult. Managing those expectations really just comes down to knowing your people. And that's like one thing I take a lot of pride on, is all my clients I know at a personal level to some degree. Everyone's got my number. They all can come to me at any time. Like I end up being a life coach, just as often as I am a powerlifting coach. So.
Do you consider Primal Instinct family with all those members and?
Yeah, that's why we compete Together.
Okay.
Most coaches, get onesies and twosies, or like maybe 2 people at a competition. We send 8 to 10 every single time for a reason. We stay at the same Airbnbs or in the same area every single time.
When you say sing, you mean competitions?
Yeah,
Okay.
competition wise. So like this upcoming meet, IPL Nationals for the USPA.
Yes,
We
sir.
have 7 competitors, all at the national level. Everyone's shooting for a national title. And then our previous meet to that was the Shamrock Showdown. We had 11. Prior to that was another meet, was another 10 people, right? So I'm always sending a group, and I always try to coordinate and create competition amongst them, competitive, like good competition, and create that bond. So that way everyone talks on the outside, everyone's a friend on the outside. We have our own team chats and stuff like that where people get to know one another. Not many strangers in this entire organization.
So allow me to ask this, like what's some of the difficult traveling wise, like to talk, because obviously it's not in North Carolina, but look, like what's some of the, we'll say obstacles you face with traveling to these different areas for comps?
So realistically, being straight up financial, right? Biggest thing is
Okay.
financial. 90% of people that do this sport don't have a lot of money. 90% of the people in the Army don't have a lot of money. And we have to kind of understand that, right? I can't be like, hey, this is the hotel I'm going to stay at, and then you guys can all spend $300 a night too. Like, okay, that's not going to work.
Got you.
So we have to find that Airbnb way ahead of time, coordinate with that, make sure people have travel plans. Like I paid for people's meets before just because they can only afford a hotel and travel. They can't afford the meet fee. Just doing anything we can to get them to the competition platform. Whether that's this last meet, I ended up giving up my bedroom for a couple, and I slept on the floor because we didn't have enough
Dedication.
beds. We didn't have enough
That's
beds.
real. A lot of coaches probably
And
wouldn't
I
have
don't
done
give a
that.
fuck. I don't need to
Yeah.
sleep good. I'm just sitting there walking around with a beer in my hand, telling people numbers the next day, and they got to compete so they can have the bed. You know what I mean? So realistically, is just trying to financial is the biggest step, and then 2, trying to make sure that everybody can do it in a timely manner. AKA, like we can't in powerlifting, you can't fly out Thursday night for weigh-ins Friday morning, then compete Saturday. That's a lot of cortisol and stress, especially if you're a bad traveler, right? Like a lot of people suck at airports. And if you do, then your stress level is going to be super high and you're going to do really bad on your competition day. So trying to make sure people can fly out 2 days early if they can, or drive out 2 days early, spend a day just relaxing, especially as you get higher and higher to a higher level. Most of these people at national levels and higher, they're spending like the first 3 or 4 days before they compete at a place.
Got you.
But
So allow me to ask this. As a coach, before you say, all right, my guy, my girl, they're ready to get on the platform, what do you look for? Like, because I know it's like 8-week programs, 16 weeks, I guess sometimes even 32. What do you look for before you tell that person you're ready to compete, you're ready to get on that platform?
So two things with that. One, obviously on my side of the end, coaching, right? So if everyone's followed the programming set to a T, then I'm looking for specific signs knowing you did. I can tell, most coaches, if they're good, can tell in that last 3 to 4 weeks if you've divvied off program or not going into the peak, right? So when you're powerlifting, you got to lead up to that peak, and you can tell because if people are feeling great, like everything's moving super amazing, they're not doing well. That sounds counterintuitive, right? With powerlifting, the last few weeks, you should be really, really fatigued. You should be, very, very strung out. Your last lift should be really difficult to hit. And then you save that good lift for the platform. You see too often people hitting PRs leading up to the meet, and they don't do good at the meet, right? So that's one thing that we look for. And then 2 is just anxiety, man, because people, from left and right to all my clients that first responders or military, like, dude, I've seen combat in 100 missions, right? And every time I walk out on that platform, that first squat is still stressful. You still get the shakes, no matter who you are, even if you've competed 100 times, no matter what platform you're on. So trying to control people's like anxiety, and like looking for those cues to try to like get them to focus is something that's, you got to find every individual has it. You know what I mean?
I got you. So
Their own cues.
So the reason why I asked that, 'cause that's, I'm gonna use military terms, but so that's like a leadership position. The reason why is like, I know sometimes like you'll get clients, and I'm only speaking from my personal experience, like, where I felt like I was ready. Clearly, I'm not. But like, have you ever came across somebody and they came to you like, hey, coach, I'm ready, put me on the platform, and you had to be like, hey, sorry, dude, I'm telling you you're not ready based on what I said. Like, is it hard for you being the coach in that perspective, making those type of decisions for your clientele?
Got it. No, I'm blunt. So
Okay.
when it comes to that, usually telltale signs is just competition standards, right? The easiest way we look at it is like everyone can do a competition at any time, unless you're like have like some really crazy physical injuries. But if you're still squatting high, or you're still doing stupid shit, or you can't listen to your commands, or you're not pausing your benches, the basic things that are gonna just make you fail and also put a bad, reputation out for me out there. As long as attitude as well, because I've had one specific, you guys will know who I'm talking about, athlete who created a pretty big drama at a WRPF meet that we had last year where they caused, almost got us kicked out, like me as well. And so attitude is something I'm also looking for as well. So like if you want to compete because you're angry or some weird shit, then don't do that. Like that's not this sport at all. You gotta be calm and control the collective anger, if that makes sense.
So, pose another question. So dealing with stuff like that, like, does that kind of put this is probably a duh type question, but for the audience, does that put a stain on your brand when you bring in athletes like that to meets? Like, does that have them, anywhere you go, where South Carolina, wherever you do your competition, does that have people looking at Primal Instinct like, like, what the fuck, like, this isn't what we represent?
Absolutely. So I always uphold that professionality, right? Like behind closed doors, absolutely not. We're all degenerates, obviously, right? We're all in the military. Our group chat is feral. It's not a good place to be. But when it comes to that platform, abso-fucking-lutely. Like I don't ever like my clients looking like shit. Like if your singlet's all old and fucked up, like go get a new one. When it comes to your lifts, like obviously I expect the standard, if not better, every single time. Sportsmanship, like one of our last meets, we made sure that we stayed and cleaned up the gym afterwards. Our team, nobody else. Our team cleaned up their people, that entire gym, and then we left. Right. So that professional standard, trying to set that tone is super, super important to me because at the end of the day, competing is competing. If you're not the top of 1% in the world, you're probably not going to do the best in those national level meets, right? But there's a way you can set yourself apart from just the generic people, right? And that's professionalism.
Got you. So with that, before we at the potatoes, I'm gonna bring it to the meats. No Diddy in a second. So, Primal Instinct. So, like moving forward again, clearly doing great things, not only for yourself, the community, powerlifting as a whole. So, moving forward, like, what is your dream overall for Primal Instinct moving forward?
My dream is to condense back into personal, a little bit more one-on-one coaching, right? So I have a lot of online clients. That's online coaching is kind of the bread and butter of my business. I think I got out of 39 active or 40 active one-on-one clients for powerlifting. I think about 15 of them, if not almost 20, if I can roughly, are out of the city, right? And I want to try to bring that a little bit closer. I'm still going to take care of my online people. I'm still an online coach, but I want to really get back to one-on-one, being able to do seminars here, being able to do the things I couldn't do when I was at the other gyms in the area, right? It's not personal training; it's a different ball game, and I want to be able to facilitate that in the city because nobody else does. The only other people who do are the great people, Mitch and Amy out in Lions Den, and that's obviously far away for a lot of people, and they don't go. So I want to be able to create that here a little bit closer to us. Other than that. Next thing is national level and higher meets, right? So
For yourself?
For my clients as well. So
Gotcha, okay.
it takes a while to get to that level, obviously, and it takes a while to accrue athletes that are at that level. You know what I mean? You don't just walk into a guy that's going to be a world level competitor, right? It just you have to accumulate that, and we're finally getting there. Finally able to produce, if you guys know what DOTS is, like a team of 5 to 7 individuals that have well over 500 DOTS to compete at a super, super fucking high level. And that's not even including myself. That's just my clients. And I want to be known when it comes to some of those great names out there, like Trevor Jaffe, my other coach that I had in the past. I forget his name. Russ's old coach. I forget his name. Joey. What the fuck's his name? Whatever the fuck his name is. Yeah. Some weird name. Some fat dude. Anyways, great coach though. Great coach. Had some of the best athlete roster in the world. Right. He has like some of the most records to his name. That's where our next step is. Right. I want to kind of start pulling myself away from coaching everybody. I want to bring a couple more coaches on to help facilitate the intermediate people to get them to an advanced level. Not saying that I don't want to take care of the little guy. That's not my idea. I want to take care of them through somebody else so I can have more time to focus on the top of the line. That way we can create, the next step of national records, the next steps of world records if we can, make it there.
Too easy. So, want do a little focus for this portion on you. So you mentioned earlier having a hip replacement coming up soon, and obviously that's going after nationals and all that. But like your temperament, like knowing that you got to go through that.
It's before nationals.
Oh, before? No, my bad. Apologize.
You're good.
But
wheelchair.
What's your temperament like going into that? Like, what are your worries and concerns after the surgery?
I think I touched on this last time. I'm a super injury riddled dude, and that's not me milking it like a lot of people do. I didn't, come from some recovery and post it the last 6 months and try to milk that. I'm not. But I've had surgeries. I had my back surgery, knees, all that bullshit. So My idea behind it is I can't go forward with the injury anymore. It's causing way too much stress. I have to take a step back to go, launch myself forward. Just time, man. Just time and trying to focus on doing the recovery right. Too many people rush back into things. They rely on those peptides, BPC and TB. They rely on the magical drugs that don't fix you if you don't do the right work. So my mindset is to do the right things, get to the right, ability to compete. Because I have my pro meet, the Ghost, next year in April, and I'm not pulling out of it. I'm going to step on a platform with the greats, and I'm probably going to do really shitty because I'm going to be 2 months post-op or 4 months post-op, and I don't care. It is what it is. Still going to be out there and still do it. So my mindset to it is just do the best that I can with the circumstances I was given.
That's too easy, brother. I really appreciate that insight. So that says a lot about your temperament, your perseverance level, all that other, the positive aspect of it. So question, so apparently, I know so little about it, I can only go based off what I hear, but apparently that the powerlifting world, I'm not gonna say is in shambles, but well, apparently, so there was this big split.
Yeah.
So again, I don't know too much about it. From my audience that are powerlifters and lifters, why is that so important that organization split the way that it did, from your perspective?
Knowing all of the details from the USPA's original split 3 years ago, WRPF's, and having insight on the people, you know what I'm saying?
Got you.
It's just we're just divided. It's not the tested side. The tested side of powerlifting is doing great things. Powerlifting America, USAPL. USAPL is kind of weird, but they're doing good things. There's no problems there, right? Versus the untested side with WRPF. Now Powerlifting United, which is what we followed with through. It's just constant issues. USPA as well, between the background check issues with the child molestation allegations and all that crazy shit with USPA.
So is that deep?
It's that deep on
Okay.
the USPA side. WRPF, no, it was bad funding to other issues. It was funding being rerouted at a massive level from the council members, right? So everything is just breaking apart. So I can't even tell you if it's stable yet because I'm not at that high of a level. I'm just at the state level when it comes to things. We can say that in North Carolina and South Carolina, between me, Liz Fortress, and Michael Solon, the three heads, well, those two are the heads, I'm their subhead, with Eric Wilberg up there in Raleigh. We're going to hold down North Carolina and South Carolina. We are not going to make sure, no meets are going to be disappearing at all. We're going to make sure that North Carolina and South Carolina are taken care of, no matter how it gets split. But for the great organizations, I can't tell you guys the stability. I can't tell you if Powerlifting United is going to last or if WRPF will come back. It's out of my hands.
Too easy. So moving. Thank you for that insight. That put me on game, and probably some others. So
Yep.
with that being said, damn, great question. Attention span of a squirrel. I'm gonna think about it later. But one of the questions I did want to ask. So you're incorporating a martial arts a package like the martial arts into your gym. So do you have any martial arts experience? And with that being said, is that why you wanted to incorporate it in with this gym?
Where'd he go?
He went outside.
I'm going to have to get him in a second.
I got you.
So me, no. I had no background before this, right? When the Army, during my special operations time, I did all the cool combative stuff. So I went to a bunch of combatives courses, but that's not martial arts to me.
Okay.
That's taking that experience and bringing it into MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with my co-owners here. Fuck no, that shit does not translate at all, right? Killing people, well, whatever, don't want to say that. Doing bad things to people that are bad overseas, totally different ballgame than rolling with a dude with rules, right? It's a different ballgame. So I had no experience in it. Other than just regular fighting, I bounced for a little bit, so stupid shit like that, or taking care of somebody back home, but no experience. The difference was whenever I can get him to come back in, my co-owner, Vinny Romero,
Got you.
he owned a separate gym and still owns a separate gym for MMA and BJJ.
Rhetorical question. So is he going to be the coach or just the overseer?
He is the overseer, and then we
Okay.
have a head coach, Austin Rivera, he's not going to be here for this interview, but he is our head MMA, our head Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coach.
Please allow me to interview him one day. But
I would say he's one of, speaking for him, he's one of the most lethal dudes in this city when it comes to that sport. Absolutely, put anybody in the dirt,
Too easy.
But no, I had no background. I started when this whole business plan came through fruition. I started just because I wanted to be there. If I'm going to be a part of a gym that also has a huge mat space, the biggest in the city, I'm going to fucking learn it. And it sucked ass. It was brutal, and it still sucks.
I got you. I thought of the other question, but I'm gonna finish it out with this. So with that being said, is there going to just be one teacher for your gym? Or are you going to have multiple?
No, so we have both sides of the house. Couple and before we're going to start making it as a gym direction here, so I'll give it out in that way. No, we're doing personal trainers here. So when it comes to the gym side, I'll be a powerlifting coach, and I don't charge for our coaches here. If you're a trainer and you want to train at this gym, there is no fee. You just bring clients, and you get a 1099 from us, so that way all your legal side stuff is taken care of. And then when it comes to our Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and MMA, we have 2 coaches currently. As we fill, we will probably look for more, but that's not my side of the house. So I'm not going to speak for them. I just know that with this space, we're going to be able to expand, and as we do expand, we will need more coaching, and we're going to look for the best of the best in the area. So
I can't wait to see what direction that goes in. That question that I had forgot. Do you think there's a bridge in the powerlifting community between tested and untested?
I do. I mean, I think that the whole that's a loaded question. I think that the people that don't understand how steroids work is a problem.
Okay.
Right? The people that think that Hugh Jackman really just ate his greens every morning for Wolverine and Deadpool, like, you're the problem. Right? That's the problem.
That's golden, but yeah.
Steroids aren't a magical drug, and we don't want to get into a loaded question.
Gotcha, yeah.
When it comes to that, the people who understand it are the bridge, right? All the coaches that have done both sides, or all the athletes that have moved over, those are the people who understand it. There is not now competing together. No, it should never happen, right? But that line doesn't need to be as definite, right? Should be meets that are open. Where like, hey, you can compete against an untested dude if you're willing, if you're good enough. Because at the end of the day, powerlifting is a marathon sport, man. The guys that started 10 years ago, shout out Jamar, right? Jamar Davis,
Gotcha.
Strong as fuck dude. He's got a damn long tenure in it, and that's because of that. It's a marathon sport. Steroids will help you kind of make a little jump, right? But at the end of the day, it's a marathon. It's the guy who can get stronger, get bigger, and stay healthiest the longest is going to be the strongest people in the world. And that the use of anabolics starts losing its traction there. You know what I mean? So I think that the bridge to that is all the people who actually understand how that shit works.
So with that, shout out to Brandon. This question was meant for him. He gone. I'm gonna ask him this later. But there was a conversation me and him had. So the attention powerlifting is getting now, do you feel like it's easier for powerlifting, for misinformation about powerlifting to be put out there?
Yeah, here, let me answer for Onion there. Let me pull my hairline back, really fucked up too.
Oh Lord Jesus.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think that there is a huge, between the influencer media, Instagram, TikTok, and all the bullshit that comes with that, the influencers that are negative in the community and all that stuff that's going on, I think that powerlifting is at a really weird point right now, where we are bigger than we've ever been when it comes to populace size. But the amount of politics and dumb shit that's happening is way bigger than it used to be, right?
Okay.
Where it's a turning point where the top people in the federations across the entire sport need to really start pushing that direction and creating better paths for influencers to do so before we get fucked up and we become some stupid sport that nobody wants to do anymore.
So with that, who would you say in the powerlifting community puts out the accurate information about? Because I get it, the TikTokers, Instagrammers, all that, but who would you say is a good example for powerlifting, and that's the direction you want to go in?
Influencer-wise, people who are really straight up. You got your big names like Dirk Wassel, who's kind of a meme lord on Instagram, but all of his information is super straight. You know what I mean? He's going to give you a funny answer, but it's super straight information. Trevor Jaffe, again. I think someone like Ray Williams is doing a great job. Influencer-wise, though, too many people are self-absorbed, right? If you looked at, they're not doing shit for the community on the front end. So if you you can do anything you want behind the scenes, right? You can do literally anything you fucking want behind the scenes. But if you're not doing some sort of activate, if you have a platform to speak and you don't do shit with it, you know what I mean? What are you doing? Like Drake Zebulon does, he does great with those lives and stuff. He does. It's an interesting story. It's aggressive as fuck.
Entertainment too.
But the problem is it's one perspective. It's not a group of people that are using that platform together. It's his perspective against usually the world, which is a good thing. I like an alternate perspective on something, but it's not a group of people that are trying to turn the tide. It's more or less just everybody who has a platform is using their platform for their own lifting and then their own advertisements and their own sponsors, blah, 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 instead of trying to like help things move along.
So, with that being said, right, like, yes, I'm bringing it up because it made me think about Zebulon's story. So do you think with how, and I asked this before, your perspective might have changed since then, but do you think that the judging system it is flawed because it's at the end of the day, it's still, there's human error in that? Like, you could, from your eyes or somebody else's eyes, you could do a perfect lift, but to that judge, you know, depending on whatever type of reputation you built for yourself, you know, they can hinder you, basically not give you that pass or that white dot.
Yeah.
So do you feel like from that, with everything I just said, bringing it full circle, do you feel like from that perspective, judging in powerlifting can be flawed?
I think we touched on this last time. I agree. I think it is entirely.
Okay.
Because of judge bias. Now, like one of my two favorite examples of mine, and one being John Hack's recent deadlift at the Ghost Clash. I didn't get called for ramping. One red light got called for ramping. The other one did not. It was ramped. It was 100%. Like as a subjective person, wanted to see that record get cracked. It got cracked. I don't think it should have. Right.
Okay.
Secondary one would be like Russ at most of his meets, right? Throwing like the most famous, I think it was like the 2021 Nationals, where he like completely threw the deadlift from the top and he didn't get red lights. Like he threw it back and his hands were open before it hit the ground, right? Got all whites. Why? Because he's famous. So that side of it, super stupid, right? Like the people that they want to see do well are gonna do fucking well, right? And the people they don't want to see do well, that's when you get into the nitty gritty bullshit of like, yeah, like politics should not be like. I understand human error when it comes to like, oh well, maybe I saw the squat was depth and it wasn't, right? But you should not walk out there ready to press the red button because you don't fucking like somebody.
Okay.
That's ridiculous to me. That's like a cop going up to a window and already have a bad look because he smells some stupid shit or the windows are black and he's already got his hand on his gun. Like that's what creates the fucking problem, right? Now I understand to be ready for the problem, that's different, right? But to create the problem before it even exists is ridiculous to me. So like, and the other thing too is when you're judging at any competition, that shit's going quick. So the fact that you look at the board and you're like, oh, that guy's coming up next, like fuck him, yeah, get ready. Like that's ridiculous to me. But do your job. Gotcha. It's not complicated. Everyone's just a body out there moving weight. It shouldn't matter what they are or who they are. God damn. I'm sorry.
No, hey, everything content. You can take it if you. Damn, he's a real one. Now let me stop you.
But yeah, that's it, man. That's it's just people just take it too politically. Like nobody cares, dude. This sport, it's not that big of a fucking deal. It's really not. It's really we huge money into the sport. I understand it's a huge investment for everybody. It's really not a big deal right now. It's not the Olympia. Like look at the top powerlifters in the world. Now look at C-Bum. Look at the difference in followers. Like, come on. It's not. We're lifting a stick with circles on it at the end of the day. In different directions.
I really hope that becomes a saying.
It's a hobby.
Stick with circles part.
Is it a sport? Pushing the line on that, dog. Like it's not really a sport. It is a very, very in-depth hobby. So like taking it so seriously where you're willing to crush someone's career because you don't like them, that's too far to me.
Okay. So allow me to speak on this, and this again another Doug question, but about the federations, right? Are all these federations really necessary? So as I dive more and dig deep, like there's like over 100 federations. Like that's probably, do you think all these federations, like you got a federation and a sub federation in the main, like is that really necessary in powerlifting?
No, I mean, but that's you asked, like look at humanity as a whole, right?
Okay.
Like why do we have so many different countries?
Okay.
Countries are rules, right? Rules set by rulers.
Okay.
So it's the same way. It's like a big name powerlifter wants to change something in a book. They want they got the original powerlifting book in the 1980s, right? Is this set of rules? Some person who retires did really, really good, and they want to change a rule.
Has that book been updated? That's for later, but you said the
year.
year.
I'm speaking in general, right?
Yeah.
Someone who's a really big name, has a big influence, wants to change something in that book. Nobody else does. Okay, fuck you guys. I'm going to create a new book with my change in it, and that's a new federation. That's what happens, right?
Seriously?
And it kept trickling down, and it become like, hey, like we don't like the way this organization is being run. 3 people are going to pick up and make their own, and then people are going to pick up and make their own. I mean, North Carolina saw it with us, with our bunch of different people here. You know what I'm saying? Bunch of random stood up federations that just die. It just doesn't make sense to me because you want to create your own rule.
So based on that, in my thinking, so it sounds like as long as you have the influence, finances, and we'll say power, anybody can make a
Yeah,
federation.
if you got 10,000 plus people on Instagram and $1 million, you can create your own federation. Well, $100,000, bro, you can create your own federation tomorrow, and then you apply to Open Powerlifting. So it's registered federation. Get your coaches, get all the things, check mark, and yep, boom, it stood up. That's it. And now you can create your own world records on there, which is ridiculous to me.
Would you?
Like the grooming process that Open Powerlifting has, because that's the holy grail, right? OpenPowerlifting.com is our holy grail for powerlifters of like the records and the leaderboard, right? Their grooming process is not, it's great. It's not the best that it can be because there should be a limit on the amount of, like to me, there should be a limit on the amount of federations we have at one time and people have to fight to get to it, right? And it's not that. Like you said, like you go onto just the federations tab, there's hundreds, so.
So if I may add, general question, but isn't that kind of bad and or toxic to powerlifting? Because like, what if, and only reason, like, so something typically bad, in my experience, like if it grows, it typically outdoes something. Could something like that, based on that tidbit that you just said, could that be the reason why powerlifting is no longer relevant? Because you have a lot of individualism in there that doesn't, okay, yeah. So,
Like thinking about like Eddie Cohen's like prime time, right? Like when he was going to meets, like stadiums were sold out. They'd like for like 2 dudes just to go lift. That was it. Like nowadays, like local meets are dying because everyone's got a local meet on a Saturday, bro. Like today, if you go to Lifting Cast right now, there's like 200 current meets on fucking today across the entire the federations. Like it's ridiculous. It's too much. There's less competition in that sense as well. So I think that it's definitely killing the sport in that sense. But the problem is like, how do you fix that? Too many people caring about too many opinions. Like people have to understand that when it comes to anything, business is business. You have to step on toes sometimes to get things done. You have, like, as a business leader or as a leader in general, you have to be willing to tell a couple people to shut the fuck up to get the whole thing moving.
Gotcha.
And nobody can do that anymore. Nobody can say, "Hey, suffer while we fix something, and then we will get to you." It's always just, well, I want to please everybody. Every opinion's got to be heard. And I'm not saying not to listen to those opinions, but I'm saying like sometimes it's okay to be like, "Hey, we can't do that. Fuck off. We need to get the thing moving." And now you have too many people with too many opinions that are so varied nowadays, which is ridiculous to me. And somehow that's trickling into a sport about weights.
So allow me to ask this. I'm gonna bring it back, but business, right? So business owner, boss, whatever the term is, what were some of the obstacles you face getting this business established?
For me, finding the right partners. Because again, I do not come from a point of enough wealth to really get like this done. When it comes to the powerlifting coaching side, that's easy, right? You know, anybody with enough knowledge and know-how can create an LLC and do that.
Gotcha.
Different story. This different ballgame. A lot more money's involved, a lot more pressure. You know, all the different things. So for me, it was just a matter of biding my time, finding the right person to work with, and I did, and being able to work with them as best we can together to get to that point. But obstacle-wise in this city, dog, I couldn't even explain to start. This is such a fucking corrupted place sometimes with stuff, dude. It's wild, like, you know, between people trying to create code issues for you or anything like that.
That deep, huh?
It can go that deep in this city. So
Okay.
very, very difficult with a handful of things like that. But it's just, yeah, you're fighting an uphill battle in Fayetteville if you're trying to take a small business and fight the big names. Like you're trying to actively fight against these commercial gyms that we have in the city. Like it's me versus them right now. Like that's how all these little private gyms in the area have died. They can't compete with them because they'll actively get shut down.
So allow me to ask you this, like, so what do you believe or what do you want to offer different with this gym versus your competition? That way you don't have to worry about being shut down.
Yeah. Other than like locally having the best equipment that we can get, right? Like not just the most expensive hammer strength bullshit. Like powerlifting wise, this is the best. We ordered all brand new shit.
Okay.
It's all the best.
Y'all hear that? No,
Like the best things that we can get with our current financial ability, right?
Okay.
The next thing is going to be community, because what do we all hate about commercial gyms is it feels like a business, a commercial gym. It doesn't feel like a gym. And what do we hate about gym owners that don't listen to their fucking people? that itself. We hate people that don't give a fuck about what we're told.
Now, let me stop.
Right? Like, I'm going to listen. We're going to take the feedback, and then it's going to be put on some sort of tracker so that way we can get it done. If it makes sense, it'll get done. If you tell me that you don't like the walls being black, you can go fuck yourself. That's not going to happen, right? But if you tell me you don't like this machine because it's not working and you have an idea of a machine that worked better, and I can test that theory and it works, that's going to be gone and the new one will be in soon, right? Like, I'm not going to sit there and go and get all the most useless bullshit that doesn't get touched because people, I think it works. Like, I'm a lifter at heart. I know what I do. I have clients that I program for. I use that information for this place. When we built it, you know, I mean, it's like, what do I give for my people that are powerlifters and some bodybuilders, right? That's what we need. And then the same thing when it comes to opinions. Like, when we started this whole process, I went to all the biggest names in the city for bodybuilding, powerlifting, CrossFit, right? Myself, Jamar, all those other dudes. I got Dillian Williams for strongman, Alex, a couple of those other dudes. I talked to Travis, Eduardo, all the bodybuilder people, all the bodybuilder females, everything. We got a huge pile of opinions, sorted out, created like, I literally took it on an Excel sheet, made a tracker of like all the things that are all commonalities, and then gave what we could with the funding that we had, and then made a plan going forward to implement things like our posing room. That's private, that we will eventually have built in here. It will get done. You don't have to get into your bikini anymore, girls, and go watch a billion dudes stare at you from the fucking mirror. Like, it's gonna be private. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Shout out.
Yeah, just stuff like that people have been asking this community for years, literally fucking years, and nobody wants to do it. Why? Because they don't give a fuck. And I do. Like calibrated plates, like the only other gym in the fucking area that has calibrated plates is who? Lions, way out there, because they know, they understand that that's what powerlifters need. And it's not that expensive. $1,000, $2,000 for plates. Like, a gym owner should be able to throw that at gym equipment, no problem, because most of these machines are $5,000 a piece. So if you can't buy $2,000 worth of calibrated plates for a huge community of people, you're fucking being stupid.
If you allow me to ask this, because pose a question hearing in that format, why do you think not all, but some of these gyms, they disregard the wants of their customers coming in? Do you think maybe it is a money issue, or them being greedy because they realize the money that's going to go into it? From your perspective.
My perspective is this. This community has a massive gym populace.
Okay.
Right? Pound for pound, we have more people that go to gyms in this city than fucking any city I've ever been to, including the area around Alpha Land. I know that sounds crazy a number, right? You look at their current signed memberships locally, it's less than Fit for Life's little gyms around here.
So Alpha Land.
Swear to God.
Okay.
Their day pass is not even remotely close, obviously, right?
Okay.
But their like local members are way less than the 7,000 people that are signed up for just All American alone. 7,000 to 8,000.
Okay.
That's 8,000 signatures for one gym out of 12 in this city, right?
Okay.
So my point being with that is the money's there. The money's there.
Okay.
There is no possible way, if you got 5,000 people sign up for a gym and you're making, give or take, $100,000 a month, that it's not greed in some capacity. Or, to me, the other thing is like, they don't want to cater towards something they don't believe in, is another thing. Like, you know, when it comes to the commercial gyms, that's a different ballgame, right? You're fighting up a corporate ladder to get something done.
Yeah.
You know, you guys get a pass. When it comes to the gyms that are kind of not really corporatized, but smaller owners that can make those decisions on themselves, and they just don't, they actively are doing that against that community, right? And I think that's poor. Like, why? If you have the space, you have the capacity, you have the money, I mean, maybe just don't, spend an extra $2,000 on yourself and go get your gym a set of kilos or a power bar or two, or fix something that's broken that everybody likes because they like it, not because you do. You know what I mean?
Thank you for that tidbit. And I feel like this is what makes anybody I interview, their interview so unique. So thank you for that. That was very generic, very genuine. That's something I feel like a lot of people in Fayetteville, North Carolina needs to hear. So before we bring your man on board, there are 2 questions, but there are 2 parts in it. After that, bring your man in and we'll conclude. So with that, the aspect of fitness community, what are things that you like about it and what are things you dislike about it?
Fitness community, what I like specifically, I mean, the journey, that sounds really cringy, but like, everyone's doing this together. You know, whether you're obese and you're coming in here for the first time and it's your first lift and you're nervous, like we're part of it. You're a part of it now. You know what I mean? And I want to create a space that does that. Granted, I can't help intimidation, right? That's something that's on its own ball game. You know, you come into a place and you're intimidated by the big guys. That's on you mentally. I want to create a place where those big guys can encourage you, right? I want to create a place where you don't get stared at funny when you walk in for the first time. Like I want, even if you are weird looking, we'll point and laugh at you and get you a point in the whole situation. We'll make you a part of it. You know what I mean? We'll bring you to the joke. When it comes to that's what I love about fitness in general, is the community itself, right? And the community that I want to build for Fayetteville is going to be that. Things I dislike are the how bad opinions have to like become. You know what I mean? Like someone doesn't like somebody because of something, and it just blows out of proportion. Or like getting in fights in the gym, or bringing in like you go to a place to fight your demons mentally, or like go to war. God, I fucking hate that saying, but like, dude, it's just a gym. You should be happy in here, right? And so people who bring in so much emotion and can't like direct it is what bothers the shit out of me.
Except on the weights, right?
Yeah, like I mean, yeah, go get pissed off but don't throw my dumbbell because you're mad your fucking girlfriend cheated on you, and you throw my dumbbells and break them. Like fuck you, dude, right? Or you go around and you mean mug everybody because you had a bad day, like. Dude.
What for?
Yeah, bro, like lock in, put your headphones in, lock in on what you're doing, focus on that, and then move on. And then if someone comes and talks to you, like smile. There's no reason for you to be rude to anybody in a place like this. Like I hate that saying. I hate that saying. Yeah, right. I hate the saying like the dojo or the house of gains, like where it's a place to worship. Like I hate those words, but the idea is the same thing. Like we all come together to do something better for ourselves. Why is anybody being fucking rude about that situation? Like, it doesn't make sense.
So, appreciate you. I really, really do. So, second two-part question, right? Powerlifting. What are same format? Things you like about it, things you dislike about it.
Powerlifting. Things I like, it's a numerical journey. I don't like bodybuilding because at the end of the day, it is a pageant. It is a beauty pageant. You are being judged on your muscle size, blah, 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 blah. It's a fucking beauty pageant, right? And I don't like that because it's hard to measure your, like, outside viewer. I look at the Olympia that just happened, right? And you tell me, audience that aren't professional coaches for bodybuilding, what the fuck is the difference between most of those top, they're all huge. They're all giant, super fucking lean. Like, well, yeah, his lat was an inch. No, you didn't see that. Shut up. You know what I mean? Like, you have no fucking idea. Those judges that are professionals, have been doing it for 20 years, they do, sure. But like, to me, powerlifting, you're looking at a number that's going up or down. Right? You're looking at your dots, you're looking at your individual PRs, you can track everything, and it becomes like a really easy to follow journey, because everybody has those days you wake up and you look in the mirror and like maybe you ate something and you're bloated that day and you don't look good, now you're mad at yourself. But let's say that day happens, you go into the gym and you still hit a PR. That's a good day, right? And with powerlifting, it's that simple. The weights are gonna move, they're not, you know what I mean? You also can't willpower your way through it like bodybuilding, and it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but like, bodybuilding and some of those other types of fitness, like running, for example, it's a mind game, right? Like you need to lock in and you need to do it, and then you can power your friendship through fucking anything you want, bro.
I got you.
Powerlifting, I don't give a fuck who said what, dude, what text you read, what song is in your ear. If that weight's not going up today, it ain't going up. Like, that's it, dude. It's just not there. There's no gray zone in powerlifting. It's either is or it's not, and I love that. I hate questioning things, right? What I dislike about it is the community, 100%. Like, I love and hate the community with it because it's so toxic, man. It's just.
So would you say, has it always been like that? So allow me, forgive me, pose the question.
Yeah.
So the reason why, out of all of them, the reason why I lean towards powerlifting, because I recognize not its toxicity, but I recognize the camaraderie that's in powerlifting. So with that, do you feel like regardless of the obstacles or the whys, do you feel like powerlifting is taking a turn towards toxicity than?
I don't think it's powerlifting. I think it's people. Today.
Okay.
Today.
Okay.
Like, I just think it's the people nowadays. Like,
Okay.
it's like, we'll all support each other on the platform, and then, like, as you're getting off, like, yeah, like, there's a fucking loser. I'm like, what the fuck? I'll hear that. I'll go to meets and I'll listen. I'll be like, you just cheered him on, and then you, like, turn to your coach and it's like, yeah, fuck that dude. Like, whoa, what the hell? Like, pick a fucking lane. And I think that's just people today in general. I don't think that's powerlifting specifically. I just think that people the OGs like Dan Bell and those old people that are always, good people when it comes to that shit. They'll talk shit to your face and they'll tell you, go hit that shit on the platform, right? They're just going away. And this new influx of generation of people is coming in. And I'm not trying to be like a Gen Zer. I'm only 27, bro. I'm not that old. Like, it's not like that. But it's just, the people just, they have this overly opinionated, two-faced bullshit that is just leaking into a community that, like I said, I love because it's not a gray zone community. You either hit your lift or you didn't. You either failed or you didn't. You hit the standard or you didn't. And too many people with opinions, negative opinions are just coming in and everybody wants to be a favorite, whatever. You know how it goes, man.
Too easy. Thank you for that. Okay, he's coming in. He's coming in now. Perfect timing. So
Come on, Chunky.
before we move on to him, like I did with my last interview with the last powerlifter, is there any powerlifters in Fayetteville, North Carolina, you want to shout out? And the reason why I asked for that shout out, like they're the positive or the good face of powerlifting. Is there anybody that comes to mind you want to shout out?
Dude, everybody. You guys all know me. Everybody in this community, you all know who I am.
Okay.
I know who all of you are. We built this place for us. I've been talking about it for years. You guys all know this. I can't even individually say anybody because
Got you.
everybody knows who I am when it comes to this powerlifting community. If you don't, then you're on the wrong train, dog. Like, come here, enjoy this place. It is a sanctuary for us for a reason. And yeah, man, everybody, every single one of you guys, you all know who you are, from Dundee's crew to Jamar's people to even, the OG Mongo's people. All the people that have ever been a client of mine and aren't for whatever fucking stupid reason or not, everybody goes to every gym around here that does any sort of big three. You should know who I am. And that's not being egotistical. I just make sure that everybody gets that word. So if you have a problem with this thing, come to me, right? And so, yeah, shout out to literally the community of Fayetteville.
Cole, on some real shit, thank you for coming back to this channel. Again, see you doing great things. I'm definitely going to become a member, if I can, hopefully today, but now let me stop. I'm going to become a member here at this gym. I see the vision already, so thank you for bringing your vision here to Fayetteville, North Carolina. Allow me to bring you back 6 months to a year so we can have another sit down, also, again, talk about your journey. But other than that, that's all the questions I have. Thank you so much, again.
Sounds good.
If you want, you can come on in, brother.
I do. Yeah, I'm going to introduce my co-owner, Vinny, here. Pump up his...
My bad. Hey, sit right here. I'll just stand in the middle for you. That way, he's in the... How we doing? RJ.
Yeah. Vinny, RJ. This is my co-owner, Vinny, the main brains, behind my vision, right? And we've known each other for a handful of years. He owns... I don't know if we should say it right now. Well, it'll come out afterwards. He owns Element Grappling over, I don't know if I forgot the road. What is it? Riley Road. And this is the expansion to Element Grappling. And he's the head honcho behind all that stuff and, the main mover of all things that are, this dream. So if you want to introduce yourself a little bit.
Here you go, brother.
Oh, thank you. Of course. So Cole gave me an introduction here. Fuck this all up.
No, it's everything content.
So I've been in the jiu-jitsu game for 8 years now, active duty Army. Something that I learned from the military is that for a mission to be successful, you need to have a good team around you. I've had this vision for this all-in-one training center that I wanted to open here in Fayetteville. And what I did was bring the best MMA coaches, the best jiu-jitsu coaches, the best powerlifting coaches, strength and conditioning coaches I could find, brought them together under one house so that we could build this facility together.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward, man. I don't think it even needs any too much more than that, unless you got any questions for the both of us.
Not as of right now, but if I may, not that one.
Rip it.
So I got you. So if I may, again, my channel's for everybody. So since he introduced you, time permitting, we can do it right now after I shut off the cameras. It's whatever you want, but allow me to bring you back to my channel and audiences. I've interviewed bodybuilders, powerlifters, pretty much everybody, cosplayers, martial artists. So if you have a story, have a perspective, have jewels that you want to drop on my channel, it's still relatively growing, but jewels is jewels, game is game. If you have any information or jewels you want to bring to my channel, please allow me to bring you back to this channel and we can sit down and talk about it.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Say less, say less. Again, nice to meet you, sir.
Yeah.
Other than that, hey, Cole, on some real shit, you a real one? Appreciate you.
Godspeed, me.
All right, and we are out.